The range of possibility is bewildering. Precision editing of the genome will help us wipe out pathogens. The science of robotics and exoskeletons will help patients who are struggling to move. Virtual reality is being used to alleviate suffering of post-surgical pain. I could talk about this all day. I don't pretend to understand all the medical science, but as politicians, we have to recognise the scale of what's happening and put the power of smart government behind it. That is what care will mean in the future. This is how health will be remade. And then we need to give our young people the tools of the future. Education is so important, I'm tempted to say it 3 times. When you don't invest in young people, the whole nation suffers, and the less fortunate get behind. By the time they finish their GCSEs, pupils from poorer families are 18 months behind their wealthier peers. That's right, 18 months. The pandemic showed that you can't trust the Tories with the education of our children. Children on free school meals going hungry. There was U-turn after U-turn on school closures. The attainment gap between rich and poor grew. The government asked Kevin Collins, a recognised expert in the field, to be their recovery czar. He told them what they needed to do, and they said no. When he saw the government plans, which he described as feeble, Mr. Collins had no option but to resign. If you can't level up our children, you are not serious about levelling up at all. And even before the pandemic, 200,000 children grew up in areas with not a single primary school rated as good or outstanding. Just think about that. Not a single primary school rated as good or outstanding. I want every parent in the country to be able to send their child to a great state school. On top of that, if you can believe it, 40% of young people leave compulsory education without essential qualifications. What does that say about their future? We will not put up with that. That is why Labour will launch the most ambitious school improvement plan in a generation, not walking around the problem, but fixing it. Under Labour, education will recover. But education needs to do more than just recover. It needs to be pointed in the direction I took from my dad, towards skill, towards work. Employers in all sectors tell me that they need well-rounded young people skilled in life, ready for work, young people who can communicate and work in a team. That's why it's stupid to allow theatre, drama and music to collapse in state schools.
Yeah!
want every child to get the chance to play competitive sport and play an instrument. When I was at school, I had music lessons with Fatboy Slim. I can't promise that for everyone. Not even here in Brighton. But I can promise that Labour, as the name tells you, will make a priority of getting this country ready for work. That's why we will focus on practical life skills. We will reinstate 2 weeks of compulsory work experience, and we will guarantee that every young person gets to see a careers advisor. Young people won't be ready for work or ready for life unless they are literate in the technology of the day. Fewer than half of British employers believe young people have the right digital skills. We do much worse in computer skills than most of our economic rivals. That is why Labour will write a curriculum for tomorrow. Reading, writing and arithmetic are the 3 pillars of any education. We would add a 4th, sadly it doesn't begin with R, digital skills. We need to ensure that every child emerges from school ready for work and ready for life. As in health, so too in education. We can work by the light of new technology. Machine learning can cater for individual work styles. Artificial intelligence can help tuition, especially for students with special needs. Cloud computing has brought the archive of the best that's been said and done to the handset of every student. There is so much possibility, and all we have to do is to learn to adapt. I think my dad might appreciate the technical term that's used for this change. It's known in the trade as retooling. At conference, what is the small Tory idea to respond to this change? They want to reintroduce Latin in state schools. So let me put this crisis in the only language that Boris Johnson will understand. Carpe diem. Finally, it's time to act, to educate our young citizens in the skills they need for work and the skills they need for life. A society that cares, an education system that fosters the skills. That's the foundation of an economy that works. In his great study, The Wealth and Poverty of Nations, David Landis explains why Britain was home to the first industrial revolution. The perfect home for growth, said Landis, had responsive, honest government. I'll say no more about that just in a moment. It tended to favour the new over the old, enterprise over conservatism. It spread the rewards evenly to make sure most of the talents were recognised all of the time. But the most important factor of all, the lesson we need to relearn, was that Britain led the world in the technology of the day. the flying shuttle, the spinning jenny, the power of the loom. These inventions were once the wave of the future. In textiles, iron, energy and power, Britain was a pioneer. I know that with Labour we could do that again. But every day we waste, with a government with no industrial strategy, we're falling further behind. A scientific revolution is happening around us. But if we don't have a government ready to remake the nation, the opportunity will pass us by. Already, too many people are shut out of economic reward. We once took it for granted that our children would enjoy more than their parents. That idea drove my mum and dad. It comforted them that whatever the ups and downs of life, they were living in and contributing to a better society. But after 10 years of the Tories, we've lost this. We have 5.7 million people in low-paid and insecure work. Workers in transport, care, education and utilities. These were the people who kept the show on the road during the pandemic. And their reward is continued low pay and job insecurity. The millennial generation, clustered with low-paid jobs, will be the first generation to have lower lifetime earnings than the one that went before. After a decade of the Conservatives, we have an economy with historically low rates of investment. Since 2010, in the investment league of 170 nations, Britain comes in a miserable 150. Labour will work with sectors which are strong: pharmaceuticals, materials, defence, chemical engineering, consumer goods, environmental technology, transport and biotechnology. Under Labour's Buy, Make and Sell in Britain programme, there will be more local procurement. The towns that were the crucibles of the original industrial revolution need to be revived in the next. The coal and cotton towns of Lancashire, the walled towns of Yorkshire, great maritime and fishing economies of our seaports. These places made Britain the envy of the world. We cannot make the nation we want without them. The lesson is that a secure, well-paid workforce of skilled people in high-class work, protected by good trade unions, is not separate from good business. It is the definition of good business. Good business and good government are partners. I have no doubt that the small businesses of this country are the next generation wealth creators. I want to see enterprising, creative companies. I want to see them make a profit and employ more people. I want to create the conditions in which inventive small businesses can grow into inventive big businesses. But we don't give ourselves the best chance. I've lost count of how many business leaders have told me that they wish their time horizon could be longer. So when I say that Labour pledges to change the priority duty of directors to make the long-term success of the company the main priority, we will do it with the blessing of British business.